Hello and welcome to our top 15 most controversial moments in cricket. Get ready for some serious drama as we dive right in. At number 15, we have a moment so controversial it will leave you amazed. During the first test of the 2013 Ashes, Ashton Agar got Stuart Broad to edge a wide delivery straight to first slip. A dismissal so obvious that it didn't even warrant a decision from the umpire. But while the Aussies celebrated, Broad simply strolled down the pitch to have a chat with his mate. Since the umpire hadn't given it out, all the Aussies could do was stand there in shock. A replay showed the obvious, and the commentator rightly questioned the audacity of Broad to walk down the pitch when he should have been walking to the dressing room. Outrageous scenes. At number 14, we have Ravichandran pulling out the infamous man-cat against Sri Lanka's Lahiru Tirimane during an ODI in Australia. For those of you who may not know, the man-cat refers to a legal but unpopular mode of dismissal where the bowler runs the non-striker out before delivering the ball. Obviously, the non-striker has to be out of his crease to be given out. Unfortunately for Tirimane, he was well out his crease here, and while Ashwin was content with his decision, the umpires took the matter to Virender Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar, who decided to withdraw the appeal. They say all's well that ends well, but boy, this move from Ashwin drew a lot of heat online. Funnily enough, this wouldn't be the last of Ashwin's man-catting antics. Next up, we have some DRS controversy during a test match between India and South Africa. During the decider of this 2022 test series, Ravichandran Ashwin trapped Dean Elgar plumb in front of the stumps. Maria Erasmus wasted no time in raising his finger. This seemed out for all the money in the world. However, when the decision was reviewed, Hawkeye ended up bamboozling everyone. The ball was going over the stumps. Given how full the ball was, this seemed impossible. Even the umpire couldn't believe it.
Sorry, that is impossible.
Kohli and Ashwin took to the stump mic to give SuperSport a piece of their mind, but despite Hawkeye's apparent mistake, the decision was overturned and India would go on to lose the match. The 2023 Ashes was a series that delivered in every way you could imagine, especially in the drama department. One of these dramatic moments came during the second test match when Ben Duckett was caught on the boundary by Mitchell Starc. It was a great take, but unfortunately Starc had made the mistake of grounding the ball once the catch had been completed. He did have full control for the most part, but ended up pressing the ball on the ground while getting up. The third umpire thought this was enough to overturn the decision. Aussie legend Glenn McGrath was visibly upset and went on to say if this was England, it would have been given out. Should Duckett have been given out? Let us know in the comments below. At number 11, we have the Aussies involved in some more controversy, although this time they weren't on the receiving end. During the 2024 Border Gavaskar Trophy, Indian opener Yashasvi Jaiswal seemed to have edged one behind to the keeper. The umpire gave it as not out and Cummins sent the decision upstairs. Surprisingly enough, Ultra Edge didn't show anything despite a visible deviation once the ball had passed Jaiswal's gloves. Based on the visual evidence, the third umpire overruled the decision, much to India's despair. Debates on our reliance on technology and its reliability followed, but we'll give credit to the umpire for this one. Was this just a technological error, or was the decision actually wrong? We'll let you decide. Next up, we have a questionable decision from the umpire that might have you scratching your head. During a 2023 Test series in New Zealand, England found themselves 2 runs away from victory with only 1 wicket left. Neil Wagner ran in and bowled a wayward bumper to Jimmy Anderson that flew down the leg side. Now, in a test match, the umpire can give balls down the leg side as wides if there's no way for the batsman to actually play a shot. But for some reason, the umpire decided against it. We should also mention that this delivery was going way over Anderson's head. To make matters much worse for England, Anderson gloved one behind to the keeper on the very next ball, resulting in a 1-run victory for New Zealand. Ouch. At number 9, we have what is possibly the most controversial moment from the 2023 Ashes. Yep, that Bairstow run out. During the last innings of the second test, Bairstow ducked a bouncer from Cameron Green on the final ball of the over. Without waiting for the umpire to signal the end of the over, he walked out of his crease and down the pitch. In a moment of quick thinking, Alex Carey rolled the ball onto the stumps, the Aussies appealed, and after much deliberation, Bairstow was given out. And while the decision wasn't wrong, what followed afterwards was one of the fiercest debates over the spirit of the game. But after watching Broad edge one to slip and pretend as if nothing had happened, we'll let the Aussies take this one. Here we have a rather unfortunate incident involving Sri Lankan veteran Angela Matthews and a Bangladeshi squad that made full use of the timed-out rule. During a group stage match in the 2023 ODI World Cup, Matthews arrived at the crease and discovered his helmet strap was broken. He made a quick trip to the dugout and came back, but Shakib Al-Hassan decided to appeal for a timed out. While it is true that batters have to be ready to face a ball within 2 minutes of the previous batter's dismissal, Bangladesh could have cut Matthews some slack here, but they didn't, and a fuming Matthews became the first man in ODI history to be dismissed via a timed out. At number 7, we have our friend Ashwin, showcasing his man-catting skills yet again, this time against England's Jos Buttler. During an IPL game, Ashwin proceeded to whip out the bails off as an unsuspecting Buttler crept out of his crease at the non-striker's end. Unfortunately for Buttler, the great Tendulkar wasn't there this time to withdraw the appeal, and he had to walk back to the dugout. While the man-cat has been a constant source of controversy and debate, we have to give Ashwin credit for sticking to his guns. The man clearly loves this rule. And although he's retired from international cricket, we advise batters at both ends to stay in their crease when this man is bowling. Next up, we have poor Imad Wasim at the wrong end of a confusing umpiring decision. During a Caribbean Premier League game, Windy's big man Kieran Pollard sent a not-out decision for LBW upstairs. The call was indeed a close one, as it seemed Nareen had trapped Imad right in front of the stumps. The replay showed the bat extremely close to the pads, and there it was for all to see, a clear inside edge. But the third umpire must have been dreaming about a Caribbean holiday because he ended up giving it out. Imad had no choice but to walk back, and he obviously wasn't too happy about it. Seriously guys, that's just poor umpiring. At number 5, we have a rather interesting use of the concussion substitute rule by the Indian team. During the 2025 T20 series against England, Indian all-rounder Shivam Dube found himself ruled out after a bouncer pinged off his helmet. An entire innings remained, so India sought a replacement, but the man they brought in didn't exactly meet the rule's requirements. The substitute rule, introduced in 2019, allows for a team to replace their concussed player with a like-for-like player. Since India were about to bowl, they pulled a rabbit out of their hat and brought in a literal fast bowler in Harshit Rana to replace the injured Dube. Smart move? Maybe. But controversial? Most definitely. Next up, we have some more shocking umpiring decisions, this time against Australia's Usman Khawaja. During the 2013 Ashes, Khawaja found himself comprehensively beaten by an absolute ripper from Graham Swan. The players appealed for caught behind, and the on-field umpire raised the dreaded finger, but a review showed no contact between bat and ball. To make Khawaja's case even more concrete, Hotspot didn't show anything either. The only sound heard was Khawaja's bat nicking his trousers. And that's all the third umpire needed because he ended up giving him out anyway. As the late great Shane Warne then commented, this was just a staggering decision. At number 3, we have one of the most controversial cricketing moments of the modern era. Ben Stokes' miracle boundary against New Zealand during the last over of the 2019 ODI final. As if it wasn't bad enough that Guptill's throw had hit Stokes' bat and run away for 4, the umpire ended up signalling 6 runs. Stokes hadn't even made it back for the double yet when the ball struck his bat. In a game of such fine margins, especially in a World Cup final, an extra run could have made all the difference in the world. Who knows, if Stokes hadn't gotten in the way, the Kiwis might have had a World Cup to their name. But we're just speculating. At number 2, we have the Aussies on the wrong side of an umpiring decision yet again. During a 2023 Test match against South Africa, Steve Smith seemed to have pulled off a stunner in the slips. A quick low catch that just seemed to land in his hand. Now, catches this close to the ground are usually tough to judge. The trick is to make sure that the fielder's fingers are underneath the ball. And while that did seem to be the case, the umpires ruled in favor of Heinrich Klaassen. We won't lie, it was touch and go, but come on guys, Smith did say he had his fingers underneath the ball. But with the Aussies, it's never really that simple. And as always, we've saved the best, or rather most controversial, for last. During the third match of the 1981 ODI series between Australia and New Zealand, the Chappell brothers conspired to commit an act so outrageous, it's still talked about to this day. Requiring 6 off the last ball to draw the match, Kiwi tailender Brian McKenzie had just walked into bat. But Greg Chappell probably confused him for Sir Vivian Richards because he ended up instructing Trevor to bowl an underarm delivery. While legal in most competitions at the time, this tactic was never used. Unfortunately, the younger Chappell ended up bowling the sort of delivery only the Hulk could smash for 6, and Australia ended up winning the match. The Kiwis and cricket fans around the world were so disgusted that the ICC ended up banning the underarm delivery altogether. And there you have it, folks, our top 15 most controversial moments of all time. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below.